Hello everyone, Namaste. I am Ramnath who would like to present you the series on highlights from Bhagavad Geetha based on Vyasa Bharatham. I have tried to learn some of this from the teachings of many philosophers and yogis like Swami Gambhirananda, Swami Vidya PrakashAnanda, Swami SundaraChaitanyaAnanda, Swamy SankaraAcharya, Swamy Chidbhavananda to get specific and holistic views. The part 1 is on Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. Many of you have some understanding on the teachings of Krishna to Arjuna, which mainly focuses on why he needs to fight for a righteous cause and how it won't be counted as a bad deed. In this part 1, we will know some information on Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, which are the second and third chapters of the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Geetha. As I am learning, I will be sharing my learnings, which I am putting into practice during my journey as much as I can. While doing this, definitely I will be faltering at times. Hence, getting up and relearning and unlearning to lead a peaceful life. Hope you will like it. Thank you. Here, a few sense objects have been shown here, and several sense organs are also here. That means, like, you can think like this is a person, sense organs, and the brain. Okay, so you know that brain will contain, it is as a model, it will contain mind, manas or intellect, buddhi, and chittam, it is memory, ahankara, self. Okay, so sometimes in these things can be combined as a mind. Sometimes people will make it into two parts, mind and intellect. Some people make it mind, intellect and memory, mana, buddhi, chitta. Okay, so these are all the sense organs. Okay, so mind will instigate the sense organs, then the sense organs will act. Okay, without the mind's uh, uh, triggers, approvals, the sense organs won't act at all. Okay, so if you observe, initially the mind will be going to these sense objects, and then it will visit here, and then it will only try to dream about these sense objects, and then it will construct something more later based on that. That means, like, it will try to mix the different sense objects, and one sense objects after some time frame what will happen, like that it will be constructing multiple stories, and it will only be thinking in its own fashion, sometimes thinking that the other person will react in this fashion and trying to construct a complete story. So that is how the desires will start forming. In a similar way, hatred also. So when these are the desires, then will make, say, mind will try to then instigate to satisfy the desires. It will again push or the trigger the sense organs. So different sense organs in the body will be attracted or repulsed to certain sense objects. Okay, so assume that the mouth sense organ is attached or attracted to the food, then the hand sense organ will not be attracted to the apple. Okay, it will only help the mouth to reach it. That's all. So it will, in that way only, it will pick the apple and it will give it to the appropriate sense organ, in this case mouth. Of course, these are all triggered by the mind only. Okay, so for different actions, mind will uh, push eye and to see the apple, then the hands to pick the apple, give it to the mouth. So then it will get the satiation. So this desire of the mind to get it will be fulfilled through the respective actions of the sense organs. Okay.
आयतोऽपि शयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते.
So what it means is, when a man thinks of the beauty and the pleasant and alluring features of the sense objects, then he will be attached to them or gets hatred to them. He then regards them as something worthy of acquisition and possession, usually, and hankers after them. So this is how the desire will be formed. He develops a strong desire thus to possess them. So as part of this, he endeavors his level best to obtain them. So when his desire actually is frustrated by some cause or other, anger arises because somebody is obstructing him. If anybody puts any obstruction in his way of obtaining the desired object, then he would hate him or fight with him and possibly develop hostility towards him. So this is the main item which is mentioned in the second chapter, 2.62. 62 is the actual slokam. Second is the Sankhya Yoga. Okay. Third chapter belongs to Karma Yoga. So if you observe here, these sense mind and intellect is triggering the sense organs. So then what happens is, like sometimes it will do in multiple different ways. So then what will happen? Sense organs will also get permission and activation to go towards the sense objects. That is how the desire will be fulfilled, and the mind will also get satiated temporarily. Okay, so if you
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेतौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ.
each sense organ has fixed attachment to and aversion for its corresponding sense object. So each sense organ will be either attracted to or repulsed to certain sense objects. Hence, no one should come under their attachment and aversion sway, for they are his foes, enemies. Here, Krishna is describing how things work and what one should ultimately aspire for and how to aspire. Some mechanism also he is describing in the further chapters.
इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिर्नस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्हि मोहयत्येष ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
So what it means is, the senses, the mind and the intellect are said to be instruments of the desire. By these, desire overpowers the embodied self after enveloping one's knowledge. As such, once the mind dreams of sense objects, through attachment to sense objects, desire starts to grow. Desire makes the senses, the mind and the intellect as its place of abode, stay. Then the desire dilutes the embodied soul by covering up one's knowledge and makes it indulge in sensuous experiences and tries to satiate the desire. See here, the self has put some obstructions around the sense organs and the mind. So if you observe, there is a separation between the sense organs, mind, and the um, soul, divine soul on the left, and the sense objects on the right. Okay, but there is some trick happening here. You observe now, because of this fence you can think as societal rules or self-imposed rules. So the sense organs are in a constraint and they are not able to cross these boundaries. So they will neither reach the divine soul nor they will reach the sense objects. So here there is one catch if you observe closely. So it is mind is actually going to the sense objects and it is coming back. Here the senses, the fence, the mind can easily cross over, because the fence usually, even though many of the times it is a physical fence, sometimes it is a rule based fence, sometimes no, those rules and all, when it is in the dark or when nobody is observing or when you go to a completely different location, those kind of things, those rules appear to be not observable or not working. Then the mind will do lot of these actions and it will also do some actions, because catching what the mind does is not easy. We can figure out if any sense organ like hand or leg is moving, but it is not at all easy till we reach to a stage wherein brain waves, how they are coming and how they are impacting all that, till we know, it is not at all easy to figure out how and where our brain is actually going. So it is not at all easy to figure out whether it is going, mind is going towards the divine soul or going towards the uh, sense objects. It is not at all easy. And this is the main thing. Sometime back there was one story on Billy Chali Kashi. There used to be one chapter in in the olden days, which when I was reading a Madhyama thing. So at that time, one Billy means cat wanted to go to Kashi, Varanasi, and yeah, all the rats thought, oh, this became a saint, and it will, since it is anyway going to Kashi, it will not be performing any himsatmaka attitude. So it will not kill any rats. That's what it means. So all the rats were coming close to the cat. So it is actually, it wore that saffron dress and had that kamandal and all that. Okay, so that means, like, as far as its organs and appearance is concerned, so it is doing that fake drama, but its mind wants to catch a rat. So the rats are not able to figure out what the cat is thinking in the mind. So that is what will happen sometimes even to us. Okay, so this is what we need to analyze, and this is will help us.
इन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते.
So actually here, if you observe, uh, yeah, they are very clearly mentioning that if you hold the sense organs under a fence, a physical fence, or mind rule-based, ethical rule-based fence, then and if you allow the mind to move, then you are called as mithyachara. That means like a hypocrite. He who restrains the organs of action, sits thinking of the sense objects in mind, he is a deluded person and called a hypocrite. So, controlling organs of actions, whosoever sits with his mind, pondering over the sense objects, that person is a man of deluded soul, and he is called, and his actions are called deluded actions. Okay, so as much as possible, we should not become mithyachara uh, and hypocrite. I mean, and however, I would say that this is the preliminary or first step towards controlling oneself. One our self is made up of sense organs and mind. So you need to conquer slowly. So first conquering sense organs through the fence is actually good. So, but we should not stop there. We should go to the higher level. But starting this is a first step.
तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
So he who restraining the organs of action sits thinking of the sense objects in mind, he is a deluded person. That is what we have understood. However, if you go slightly beyond, that means like as mentioned earlier, it is the first step to conquer it. So conquer the sense organs. Then what one should know is like oh mighty armed Arjuna, he whose sense organs are restrained from going after their sense objects on all sides, his wisdom is firmly set. It is to be noted that when the senses are completely controlled, the mind won't wander wildly in the sensual grooves. So that means like it is supposed to be, but definitely mind is much stronger than one can think of, and it is not tied by the fences. So it should be, we need to use some other methods to control the mind. So broadly, it is the first step to control the sense. In this part, we will know little bit more on the uh, working of the sense organs and mind, and how to slowly divert the self towards the divine, ultimate divine, so that we will see the ultimate peace over a period of time. Okay, definitely this cannot be attained in a minute or even in a few days. Okay, only Gnanis can attain that possibly, but they will also go through rigorous penances, yoga, and dhyana and all. So definitely this is not attained over a period of time, because it is we who cultivated the mind to certain orientation. So if we want ultimate peace, we need to unlearn or relearn some things. Okay, so if you actually see initially, the sense organs and mind may be equally positioned towards the ultimate divine or the sense objects. and you will know that when the mind is in mm, sleep mode, you will know that it is neither activating the sense organs nor giving any types of uh, mm, triggers. Okay, assume you are not dreaming. Okay, so uh, then what happens is like the sense organs will be quiet. It will neither drift towards the ultimate divine nor it will drift towards the uh, sense organs. So it will either move this way nor the other way. Okay. However, if you observe, uh, to restrain the sense organs and go slowly towards the divine, you need to put some sort of fencing so that sense organs will act and will be restrained to uh, not go recklessly. Okay, this is the same thing which has evolved in several societies. Okay, so coming to the next over certain more time, slowly we need to increase the fences by learning about the ultimate divine slowly, and you will understand that slowly the sense objects we will be attaining the peace, and its effect on the sense organs and mind will be slowly be reducing. However, you will be seeing that still the mind will be floating once in a while, and this is what we need to be careful about. So if you
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणधर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते.
So, based on this slokam of third chapter, Karma Yogam, you will notice that he who knows the truth, O Arjuna, about the divisions of the entities and and their functions, knowing that the gunas as senses move amidst the gunas of the sense objects. Okay, then that person will not be attached. So we should ensure that these three gunams, sattvagunam, rajogunam, tamasgunam, these things and how they will affect the sense objects. Okay, so those things if we understand, and because all the time these senses want to go towards the sense objects, because there is uh, specific attraction and repulsions. So so we need to be understanding about this one. This is called vichara. That means like you need to be understanding about how things happen, and you should understand their properties, and you should understand how they work. It is more like see, when we understand the elements in the periodic table about oxygen, what are its properties, what are the properties of hydrogen, nitrogen and all, then if we want ammonium, we will mix only nitrogen and hydrogen in certain proportions, in certain pressure and temperature and conditions, and with so and so catalyst, and then we will create ammonium. In the same way, here also we need to understand these senses, gunas, and their how those gunas will work and when they are going in the sense objects. So that difference we need to know. In short, he who knows the truth that the self is entirely distinct from the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamo gunas, and his actions do not become attached to the fruits of actions. He who knows the truth about the classification of the gunas and their respective functions and their understands that the state of sense organs move amidst the state of sense objects, then that person is not attached to the actions. So he clearly knows that I am not karta, I am akarta. Okay, that means like I am not the doer. And he clearly says Hari hi karta. That means like Hari is the doer. That means like Hari means the Vishnu God. So Naham karta, Hari hi karta. That's what he will say clearly. And while he is telling, he will not feel anything bad. He will not say that these fruits of action have come because of only my actions. He will not think in that way. That way, he will be putting all his efforts in a correct manner. Okay, with full energy. So even then, mind will be moving towards the sense object once in a while. Sometimes you just allow that as like you are still not fully matured. So this is the time you need to know that you need to put little bit more effort.
यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
So what it means is like when this one fully withdraws the senses from the sense objects as a tortoise wholly withdraws the limbs. So if you observe here that the tortoise, whenever there is a threat it perceives, then immediately it will withdraw the head, the legs to inside the shell. So in that way, when you see the sense objects are going to affect your sense organs and mind, then slowly keep away and move in the opposite direction, so that you will not get into the its influence. Okay, so this is what, just like how the tortoise does, you do that. This one is more like as part of the initial preparation. Okay, so once you conquer this one and slowly you are becoming more and more pure, then you will figure out that that much is not necessary, but initially you need it. Okay, so when this person or self fully withdraws the senses from the objects of the senses, as a tortoise wholly withdraws the limbs, then his wisdom remains established. Or you can think that that person has attained perfection. Okay. So you will see that there will be more progress towards divinity is appearing more clearer, and the sense objects are slowly going away. This is the time you should know that you have to transform from Saguna Rupam to Nirguna Rupam. That means like earlier you needed some more very precise, very clear and known and perceivable and with who has shapes and all. Slowly that is Saguna Rupam. Okay, slowly you move to Nirguna Rupam, where you will know that this Almighty is Sarvantaryami. That means like he will be pervading all over. Sarvashreshta, that means like he is greatest of the great. And Sahasraksha, that means like he can see everything. What it means is Sahasraksha means like this is more like a video camera running behind you. When video cameras are running behind you, you will tend to make less mistakes. This is known even in some street like gold wire snatching and all, necklace snatching and all. When they put video cameras, the snatchings have reduced tremendously. So like that, no, you think that God is all around and he can see everything and even your actions within the mind. That is when you will reach the highest level. It is not easy as we say, but that is how we need to go towards, so that we will get peace. Okay, so Sahasrapath, that means like he will know everything. That means like as we understood in the previous this one, even Mithyachari, whatever he is thinking in the brain waves, God Almighty will be able to figure out. That is called Sahasrapath. Okay, he knows everything. Okay, so here Sahasra means many. Okay, and you will slowly will be seeing, because you have transformed or getting transformed into seeing Nirguna Rupam of Almighty. So you will see that the entire thing around this water, trees and mountains are, and the sky, everything, and people around, animals around, all these things, you will slowly tend to see that all are one. Okay, it takes a while, but it is worth going in that path, so that you will see more and more clarity over a period of time. So this is what one should ultimately go, so that he will not be seeing. So it doesn't mean that one should see Almighty in terms of sun god or sun. So you should think that it is one form which is not saguna. That means like it doesn't have a specific shape. Okay, it can be seen in any shape. That is it. So when this happens, you know that even though slowly you will understand.
तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः.
What this means is, without attachment, do your work which ought to be done. For a man who works without attachment attains to the Supreme. If you perform actions without attachment for the sake of the Lord, that means like here we are slowly moving towards the divine, ultimate divine. So this ultimate divine, as I mentioned, initially we need to go through Saguna Rupam. Slowly we need to go to Nirguna Rupam. We should not stop at the Saguna Rupam. Okay? Then you will attain self-realization through purity of heart. Okay? So now slowly we need to construct the sense organs and mind in certain fencing, so that we will be slowly drifting towards the ultimate divine, and naturally the sense objects will remain as before. Okay, so if you see here, we have put good amount of fencing, tight fencing you can consider, and you are basically here restraining the mind. Okay, here you are not restraining the sense organs. That means like you have reached to a higher level of perfection. When that higher level of perfection exists, then even if you allow the sense organs freely, nothing will happen. Okay. Yeah. So even if they go towards the sense objects, nothing will happen, because the mind is not thinking in a wrong way. Actually, mind is now thinking the sense objects for better purposes. Okay. So The sense objects are now acting for the betterment of the society and for that person's growth also. So, and he is not thinking that that is his growth as such. It is just he is thinking that yes, I am not karta for these things. That much only he is using his senses. And you will observe that mind will move little bit within this boundary. And now if you observe, the mind will not be moving out of the fence and then moving towards the sense objects. It will be moving most of the times towards the ultimate divine, Nirguna Rupa. And one more thing is this hard fence which we are thinking at a little bit higher level, it will also not exist in pure terms. Even if that pure fence doesn't exist in a stricter fence, even to the mind, still that mind will be in controlled state. Sense organs, even if they move as before, nothing will happen.
विहाय कामार्यः सर्वान् पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति.
So what it means is that man attains peace who, after abandoning all desires, moves about free from hankering, without the idea of me and mine, and devoid of pride. That person who, by abandoning all desires, consumes without longing. That means like he will consume the sense objects as before. Like the sense organs are going towards the sense objects. So he is consuming the sense objects, but without longing, without a sense of possession. That means like he will be living in a palace like Janaka Maharaj. So he will be living in a palace, but nothing will, he will not think that I am holding or I am owning the palace. Okay, and this is without egoism. That person attains peace. You can observe that Gautam Buddha, Jesus Christ, Vivekananda, Mother Teresa, so many other people. You yourself know many more. Okay, all these people, if you observe, they thought that even though they had so much of possessions, they either relinquished, and even if they were again requested to have, they said no. So like that, they will think that they have abandoned the desires. So like that, they will move completely in a new direction. So they attained peace.
श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितः प्रज्ञः सदोच्यते.
What it means is when one fully renounces all the desires, like Buddha, Jesus Christ, or Vivekananda, Shankaracharya, and all so many people like that, that have entered thy mind and remains satisfied in the self alone, by the self, then he is called a man of steady wisdom. So if anyone can attain the supreme bliss of thyself, where he will he will not thirst for the sensual pleasures. So this is what it means. So one will ultimately need to see the beauty of the ultimate peace and try to see how to get it. So when once that ultimate peace is obtained, the hankerings and gossiping and feeling bad for something which you are not entitled to or which you will lose, all those things you will really not bother about. Okay, so you will be in equanimity status. Failure or successes will not tilt you, and then it will not take you out of balance. As mentioned earlier, I have referred to many books who have commented on Bhagavad Gita. Actually, countless people have commented, many philosophers and yogis and sages and all. Out of that, I have referred to a few of them. And this Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Gita Super Site from IIT Kanpur, there they have one site wherein IIT Srimad Bhagavatam and Ramayanam and Mahabharatam. There I have referred to the Mahabharata site, and it has so many philosophers who have explained on the same sloka. I will be going through, and also I referred to some other texts which I have been going through many a times. So that way I have been going through this book, okay, and many others. So I will be trying to see whichever is coming out to be best. So that one I will be going through. So I am trying to compile different books, data, and then we'll be trying to go through. Okay, so like that, different books I'll be trying and then trying to compile the data. This is all for myself, and since I am trying to see benefit of this, I am sharing it to others. Thank you.